We are the best. The Integrity Station. Splash, splash.
106.7.
A wonderful morning starts with integrity. The integrity starts with you.
Splash FM 106.7.
With so much happening all around the world, most times it could be hard to make a sense of every single thing. But you know what? That's why we're here, to help you understand these fine lines as we spotlight events and happenings statewide, nationwide, and worldwide. From politics to current affairs, the economy, health sector, security, education, gender issues, and so much more.
I'm not comfortable with all the political affairs this morning.
So if you say the House of Assembly is a rubber stamp, the seal that give the government authority, so be it. I don't give a damn when people say they are rubber stamp.
Address the issue of Okada Nine and the union. It's not fair enough, sir.
Do join us every weekday from 8 a.m. as we speak with the big players and technocrats in these areas on Splash 106.7 FM, the Integrity Station. Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
It's the 12th day in the month of September, year 2022. Welcome to Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM, the Integrity Station. My name is Buyega Olani. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we're glad to have you right there at the other end of the radio. First, we'd like to start by talking about a number of our colleagues who won awards over the weekend, the Primus Media Awards. That's talking about Ayomide Adetunji and Odera Otaru. They both won the Listener's Choice Award for Ogun State, male and female. And congratulations to both of them and the entire team here at Splash 106.7 FM. This is the Integrity Station, and we're glad to have you there. And I hope you had a great weekend. We did here too, and we're certain that the week will even be better than the weekend as well. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. If you're joining Panorama for the first time, Panorama is a news and current affairs program where we take a look at trending issues, especially for the first part of the program. We take a look at a particular issue. We try to make sense of it. Sometimes we have experts to help us in that regard, and sometimes we have public affairs analysts to do justice to these issues, while the second part of the program is where we now take a look at the newspapers to also peruse check the headlines and peruse the pages of these papers as well. We call that From the Pages. So we're glad to have you this morning. Thank you very much for joining us.
All right, good morning, Nigeria. It's great to be here again, another Monday. Thank you for joining us once again as we take you through current affairs events in the country via the newspapers, and even for our issue of the day, where we'll first make a stop from now till 9. My name is Lola Meduteni. Good morning once again.
Good morning once again. We'll try and quickly sort out some issues here, and then we'll be back to continue or to start the conversation. Welcome back. We'll get to the conversation then. In Nigerian parlance, a passport can either be a headshot, a photograph capturing only a person's face or head and shoulders, or the universal meaning of one, a formal document or certification issued by a national government identifying a traveler as a citizen or national with a right to protection while abroad and a right to return to the country of citizenship. For this conversation, any mention of a passport will refer to the latter only.
Generally, the strength of a country's passport is in the number of destinations their holders can access without a prior visa. And there are several factors which influence a country's passport strength. According to data from the Henley Passport Index, a London-based global citizenship and residence advisory firm, based on exclusive data from the International Air Transport Association, citizens of countries such as Japan, Sweden, and the USA can visit more than 180 countries without a visa.
In its 2022 third quarter global passport ranking, the Nigerian passport has been ranked 100th out of 199 countries. Looking at its previous rankings, there appears to be a pattern of steady regression, as Nigeria was ranked 99th in quarter 2 of the same index and 98th in quarter 1. In the Q1 index for last year, Nigeria ranked 91 and had access to 46 countries.
Why is the Nigerian passport weak? What are the factors responsible for this sorry position within the ranking? Why has Nigeria fared worse in the ranking in recent time? Does it have anything to do with the recent debacle in Dubai that caused a stir on social media? These are some questions we'll attempt to get answers to this morning on Panorama. And joining us for this conversation, we have none other than Dele Ayodo, who is a veteran journalist as well as a public affairs analyst. Good morning to you, Dele. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Nigeria, and good morning, Ogun.
All right. What do you think are the factors? I mean, we've defined that a passport or the strength of a passport can be determined by a number of factors. We've said that a passport will grant the holder visa-free access to certain countries. But what do you think could be some of the factors that would determine the Nigerian passport's ranking as 100th among 199 countries? Not just coming as 100, but the fact that we've seen a decline in its position just this year. It's gone two places further down. So what do you think is responsible for this position as well as the decline?
All right, thank you very much, Lola, Boig, and everybody. Let me start on this premise. As a public affairs analyst, public commentator, it would be wrong for me to analyze any issue based on sentiment and emotion. That would be very wrong. However, as a human, as a Homo sapiens, I think all of us have blood and water running from our head to toes. And if you have that, it simply means you can't be emotional. You will be sentimental on some occasion. So I therefore want to apologize if that happens during this conversation. But like I said, it's wrong as a public affairs analyst to be emotional and sentimental. I've lived 60 years, or in a couple of months, about 2 months, I will have lived 60 years on Earth. And 55 of those years, for sure, have lived straightforward in Nigeria. That means I'm one of those Nigerians who saw, at least the remnants, who still feel the effects of colonialism, what they did. It was still, we can still touch it, we can still feel it while we were growing. And I dare say that I've had the opportunity to live, visit other countries, even the developed countries. And I dare say that Nigeria is one of the greatest countries on earth, created by God. Interestingly, only yesterday on your station, I was listening, I think it was Odera yesterday night, the numbers, over 300 or so foreigners who requested and were granted rights to own Nigerian passports, that is, become Nigerians. They were not born in Nigerians, like we say. They were not originally Nigerians, but they asked to be Nigerians. And among those countries, interestingly, United States of America's citizens were there who asked to become a Nigerian. Australians were there. They asked to become Nigerian. I heard French citizens were there who wanted to be Nigerian. These are members of the G7, the so-called developed countries. And if you have their citizens asking to become Nigerians, then that means it's not all about blood and stains that we want to believe lives in Nigeria. I'll come to your question about passport. I'm just trying to lay that background. I know, like I said, having grown in Nigeria in the very good days, that none of our problem is natural. None was created by God. So it means they're all man-made. In Australia, one of the lovely countries, beautiful, this lightning that when it sparks, when it sparks in some areas, it lights some forest, and they have bush burns for months. Those are natural disasters. In the United States, every summer, you hear of what they call hurricane, categorized in different categories. Interestingly, again, those listening, some of these hurricanes will leave Lagos, the Atlantic Ocean, the one we call Babi. That's where they emanate. What is hurricane? It's just heavy breeze mixed with water. They will leave Lagos, harmless, where you see prayer warriors live there. People splash water on themselves. And when it gets to Florida or the United States coast, it becomes something else. Kill people, destroy houses. It becomes a natural disaster. These are things we play with. In India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Philippines, we had what they call typhoon. What's a typhoon in Yoruba is the one we call Aja or Iji. The sand, when it rolls, we play with it as a child. It rolls, and then finds a way to douse itself. When it gets to Pakistan or India, it kills thousands, hundreds, destroys houses. These are things we just play with here. What am I saying? This is a blessed country. So every of our problems are man-made. In the early 80s, I was no longer a boy. During the military era, I remember that it became something of pride. That's what they use as status categorization. You go abroad to give birth. When your wife gives birth, she spent 3 months, in some cases 6 months, and return with the child. All because they wanted to, or they want to have
A second passport.
exactly that second passport. I also remember very clearly, 79, 78, I've left secondary school, 80, 81, I got admission to about 3 different universities abroad. And I know that all you have to do in many of these countries is buy your ticket. It doesn't have to even be a return ticket. Get to the airport. They clear you, clearing as if you want to confirm that you are not carrying drugs and everything. When you get to the entry point to where you are going, they ask you how many months or years you want to spend, they stamp it, your entry visa, and then you become. And I also know that many of Nigerian elders who studied abroad will have their certificate posted to their home because they are counting the day their final exam. And as soon as they are done with that exam, their ticket is ready and they are home with choices of employment attached with different things to entice them. Again, what am I saying? All these got lost because our leaders, many of them, do not have vision. So at that point, the military era, they needed those passports, they needed their children to be there because they were laundering our money. So those children, since their citizen, would be used to open an account. And then the money here You just put it in your pocket. Then, like I said, you don't need a visa. Put it in a what do they call it, a suitcase, and you travel and go and pay it in that bank, or you buy whatever you want to buy, properties really, in those developed countries. Now, corruption, it persisted. Our leaders did not have a master plan for growth, sustained development for our country, and things begin to slide down. If you go through the area from Oshodi down to Yanosolo, it's all about factory, left and right in Lagos. Go to Kaduna, it's about industries here in Nigeria. At that time, a lot of people wanted to associate themselves with us. But as soon as they come in, we teach them that corruption. And they aided us. All countries, I'm talking of all countries, be it the British, the Queen's country, or the King's country, or God's own country. All of them were involved in looting and assisting Nigerians to destroy Nigeria. And I also remember that in the 80s, even during the military era, I remember clearly that there was a British undercover reporter who came, a lot of them acquired Nigerian passports fraudulently. And that takes us to why those passports are losing value. I remember the story of a footballer called Odate Lamte, a Ghanaian, who escaped and was said to have been helped to procure a Nigerian passport by one of our very respected professional footballers. And then when he got himself messed up in something in England, there was that confusion about where he came from. Of course, it is the passport that will be used, not your name or your face, to determine where your origin is. So it was confirmed that it was very easy, and of course, I won't pretend that that is not correct, to acquire Nigerian passport. The recent case of the man who is still being tried for organ trafficking is also there. So it's true that you can't acquire Nigerian passports anyhow, even with the so-called system put in place to check it. So that devalues that quality. I also remember very clearly, 1993, truly, I was traveling to UK with a friend who has the red passport, which is the British passport. And when we got to the immigration point, usually when I travel, you even know if you see me on the road in Lagos, you think I'm just going to Kuto. It's just those strap bags, students with that I usually go ahead carrying loads. And then. So when we got to the queue, the immigration point, of course, they separated us. British passports, you stay on a line. They'll say other passports, stay on the line, and Nigerian passports. So there were 3 lines. That was very correct. This was as far back as 1993. This was very correct. So there were 3 lines. One was basically for Nigerians, one for other passports, and the other one for British passports. So it's not a new thing. But my pain, my worry are in 2 folds. One, like I said, our leadership have not done anything to strengthen this. It's all about corruption and the perception they have about what we are. You understand? And 2, I must also say this, Lola, as a reporter, as a Nigerian, for every news that comes to me, I have to sift it. I have to process it. I look at the missing links. I look at the contents before I draw up a conclusion to believe or not to believe. That's why I don't believe all stories. I don't believe any story without going through this process. Now, till today as I'm seated, I prefer to work with the NBS, National Bureau of Statistics reports, than any foreign report. You know why? Here in Nigeria, we are not even sure our population, how many we are, is still being approximated, it's estimate. We don't know the number of houses in my street. Except, I don't know the number of people who actually live there. Sometimes it's on houses. You don't even know the number of people who live there because some people just come to sleep and has no fixed address. How then will anybody come and give me statistics of my country from outside? They're all about eyewitness reports. I say, which I, Dele Ayodo, will not rely on. So I'm not relying on any of those statistics as a flaw for my Nigerian passport. I've explained what I saw, what I know about that passport. So I'm not saying it's not true that it has been devalued with the respect. But for whether we have number 100 million out of 99, I really don't get bothered about those figures.
So many have also put the blame of how much our passport has fallen, which is, predominantly also our identity, because that's what recognizes you as a Nigerian or not. So it's also about our identity as Nigerians. As the fact that a lot of Nigerians demarket the country. We talk about cyber fraud, for instance. It looks like Nigeria is, the capital of cyber fraud in the world, but that is not the case. You see these cases here and there. There was still another one 2 days ago. The FBI,
declaring a Nigerian
wanted for a fraud of $30 million, I believe. But there are other countries in the world where cybercrime is even more rife than in Nigeria. You talk about drug. It just looks like when these things happen. So do you think that the citizens also have a part in this as to, demarketing the country, amplifying, or even maybe the media too,
right,
amplifying some of these quote unquote bad stories?
Let me also add maybe not a personal anecdote because everyone here is privy to it. I remember when we had the Lagos to London or London to Lagos bike on the show, and he was saying how Nigerians are so quick to denigrate the country, and he's been to other countries that are faring worse off than Nigerians, but those the residents of those countries, the citizens of this country, they're always happy to, say good things and positive things about their country. But Nigerians are guilty of always finding the bad in every situation. And a lot of our callers took offense to that and, castigated him very strongly for that, saying they have every reason, Nigerians have every reason to be angry and to, talk about the bad because it affects them and they would rather talk about it than, suppress it. So give that coupled with what Boyega has said. Do you think that truly we have a problem with ourselves and how we perceive ourselves and how we present ourselves to the rest of the world?
I won't be surprised. It's not going to be new if they castigate me too today, but I'm going to hold that same position. We created it for ourselves. Believe it, crime, whatever it is, cyber fraud, killing, what they call this one in the northwest, northern Nigeria, it's not domiciled here in Nigeria. It's elsewhere. It's in the most developed countries. Every crime that happens here happens elsewhere. It's not domicile. I agree they are real. They do occur. But believe it, that's why that the fact that they do occur, we still find time every weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to go to Owambe. We enjoy ourselves. That simply means there are some good things in there. True or false, if you didn't go, I'm sure you'll have heard, you'll have seen people who went. Every weekend, 52 weeks of the year, we party, either on a small scale or a big scale. Also, yes, in the Yoruba will say, Boni Baba Shekpe Gbai. It simply translate, it is the name, the tag you give your calabash, which is your property, that daughters will also tag it. So I agree that is true. I talk about that's what determines the strength of your passport. But the truth, again, is this. Gwega, ask anybody, particularly within the West African coast or African coast, if you are a Nigerian, every other country indigene sees you as a king. Believe it, they want to rival you. They believe that whatever they have, you have twice that thing. And therefore, they want to tackle you as a result of complex, I should say. Believe it, that's why when it comes to sports, when it comes to football, if any country defeats Nigeria in any sports, the celebration is like, ooh. Believe it, it's like the United States. Once you have a United States citizen wearing that flag and anything in anywhere, and that apostolate anywhere, the green card, whatever today, people tend to look at that person as if he's already ahead or superior. That's where they look at us, Nigerians. Believe it. In Republic of Benin, Togo, Ghana, I know people who will pray, who will plead with you just to take them to Songo or Oshodi, not the capital. And when they return, it's like, I've been to Gessi. I've been to English land. They're so happy about it. That's the thing. Like I said, I lived in UK specifically, in London. And while I was working there as a guard, I have as my colleague a Polish and a Spaniard. I've forgotten their names now. It's a long time. And I just noticed that suddenly I was not the only black, but I was the only Nigerian. We have a Jamaican as our supervisor. I have an Ivorian, and I think we were about 8 or so. But I was the only Nigerian, but not the only black. And I realized that these two people suddenly just were getting close to me. They wanted to be my friend. Anything I do, they want to listen to my story. Of course, I tell story a lot, particularly about my country. So they were always enjoying me. And one day, our supervisor too joined them. I remember his name very well. Darcy Clark. That was his name. And then we have a place in Pekanrai where we buy Nigerian stout, the popular one. I don't want to mention any name. So that's what I think. I go, I buy, and all of them enjoy it. I thought, oh, and each time they give me money, buy. I didn't tell them where I was getting it. Buy this for you, and we'll sit down and buy. And then one day, I think it was the Polish, he does not speak good English, and said to me, he heard that there is an institution in Nigeria where they teach people corruption. There was a particular crime at that time. I was shocked. He said he wanted, and he learned that he heard that many Nigerian have been there and knows one that will come and teach me. And the Spaniard too, who does not also speak good English, also immediately returned and said, that's why they've been close to me. That's why they want to be my friend. And I looked at them. Two things. Oh, that means you also have corruption tendency in you. You also want to be corrupt. That means, so 2 other countries are involved. Polish, Poland, Spaniard, Spain. So also will have loved to be corrupt. If indeed I am a Nigerian who went through the school of corruption. So they also want to learn from me. Not to keep it to themselves, to also use it. So what I'm saying is everybody. It's human. Once we have that opportunity. Of course, I didn't take that lightly. I broke my relationship with them at that time. Like I said, because they don't speak good English, and now started using that to turn them that illiterates and all these things. You are in Europe. Why did you run away from your country to come and live in another West European country and also so? That is real about it. But the pride as a Nigerian, if you maintain it, if you've ever been, I remember the 1994 World Cup, Nigeria semi-final versus Italy. At that time, Nigeria were African champion, Italy were European champion. And that was the advert to promote that one. Champions of Europe versus champions of Africa. And a lot of Africans, I don't want to say many or all of them, and many Europeans in particular, were supporting the African champion, which is Nigerian. What am I saying? We still have things people are proud of. We can still make use of those natural opportunities and endowment God has given us. We just spoiled it. It is true. Boni Baba Shekpegbai, Lachema Bakwe, that did not mean this country is all about corruption.
All right.
Well, some would beg to disagree with you on that because some Nigerians have always
I said so that I'm
maintained
prepared to be castigated.
for a country to ask for them to be patriotic, then that country would need to give them reason to be. Do you think Nigeria has given Nigerians reasons to show loyalty and always want to protect its.
Lola, maybe that word, that's why we got the interpretation, the definition, and the application wrong. Patriotic. All I've said now is not about patriotism. That did not take the fact that I'm a Nigerian away from it. It's not about patriotism, it's about the fact of life, the reality of events. You cannot be handed another country. Say, look, British in UK, who are Nigerian born, we saw Kemi, what's that son name? The new secretary of Hitman. Believe you me, why did Richard Sunak become PM? The racism, discrimination in terms of color is still there. When they want to really profile her, they will trace where she originally comes from. It simply means we will not be accepted anywhere better than we'll be accepted here. It's not patriotism I'm talking about. It's about the fact on ground. Does that change me, whether the country is corrupt or whether our passport is... Does that change me from being a Nigerian? Even if I change my passport, it won't change me. It does not change Kemi or any other person who are doing good outside this country from being a Nigerian. They'll feel it when things are going bad for Nigeria. They'll feel it when things are going well for Nigeria. Inside them.
Right.
That's the truth. So it's not patriotism. I'm not talking patriotism.
Send us comments on WhatsApp, Facebook, and Twitter concerning our issue of the day, which is looking at a ranking by Henley Passport Index based on data from the International Air Transport Association showing that Nigeria ranks 100 out of 199 countries in its global passport ranking. We're looking at the factors why. We also told you that in quarter 1 and 2 of this year, Nigeria had ranked 98th and 99th. And quarter 1 of last year, Nigeria had ranked 91, which shows a steady decline. So we're talking with Dele Ayodo to try to sift the reasons why that could possibly be. You can send us a message to our WhatsApp number. It's 081 7555 1067. That's 0817 555 1067. You can also send a message to Facebook where we're live streaming at Splash FM 106.7, Twitter at Splash FM 1067, hashtag Panorama on Splash. Now, Dele, you've talked about the role of the Nigerian citizen in being perhaps a promoter of the Nigerian image. But what about the Nigerian government? What should the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and perhaps even NIDCOM be doing to promote the image of the country? Do we need more diplomacy? And I know you have said that you do not take the words of these foreign organizations and this research. Yes, you don't take them at their word because there could be reasons for why this is. But in this case, this is actually data that shows how many countries can your passport access. There's no opinion there. It's just this is the number of countries that your country's passport can grant you access to. But speaking of this Henley Passport Index, apparently in 2006, citizens of the UAE could only visit 35 countries. But by 2021, that number has gone to 175. So that means it's not a fixed thing. It can change. Perhaps, maybe the country did something. So is there something our country should be doing and its Ministry of Foreign Affairs should be doing to boost or bolster our ranking?
Given that we've tried some sort of rebranding in the past as well, Nigeria, great people, great nation, we've tried some sort of rebranding.
No, that's not rebranding. There have never been a rebranding as far as I'm concerned. A lot of people, those slogans created by NOA, National Orientation Agency, and the Ministry of Information, and even the state government, I forgot there's an English word for it. You hear them, they're getting to hear, but they're not processed. So it's not rebranding. Rebranding is, to me, the actual confidence the government, the state can give you to believe in yourself. Only yesterday, I was talking with a friend who is married to a Southeasterner who lost the father-in-law. And he confirmed the opinion I've held over this stay-at-home issue and said the stay-at-home compliance is not because the people are supporting those who giving the order. No, he said far from it. He said it's simply because when they attempt to flout it, these people have demonstrated that they have the power to
To wreak
humiliate them, to wreak havoc. And states has also shown that they don't have the power to save them. So you are the one who have lost. So it's just reasonable to stay at home, not because you follow the order. I won't come out and deny that that is not true. You understand? So there has been no rebranding. Rebranding is the confidence, the one you'll see. Rebranding, like I have a husband who is a police officer who gallantly lost his life on duty. And it's not my family or a resort of begging or a resort of bribing. The same colleagues and friends of my husband before I get his entitlement.
So you're saying it's beyond the slogan?
Oh,
whatever
it's
caption.
away from it. Whatever capture, it didn't just start. It started far, even in the days of Babangida. Far from it. So I don't see it's just a waste of time and resources.
To the last question now.
Now, to Lola question, yeah, it is true. Those are statistics based on it. It's as a result, of course, like I said, the strength of your country. I agree. For our diplomatic missions, interestingly, if you go to Fleet Street today, where the Nigerian embassy is located, and then in New York, where that of the United States is also located, you see a lot of people queuing to get Nigerian passport. And believe you me, that's the only job they do. Those are the two most thriving Nigerian embassies anywhere in the world. In some other places, they don't even have anything they are doing. They don't come to work. The place is locked and cobweb. Whereas the job of our diplomatic mission is to sell the country. Do the to your side. Of course, they will also tell you that they are being owed months of salary. That's where the rebranding comes from. That's where it comes from. Many of our brothers, or you see them in Abuja and Lagos, or if they are there, they are either studying, adding more certificates, or doing their own business. There's no job they are doing. Many of them. Let them come and pick me up for saying that. Many of them don't have anything they do. That's where the rebranding comes from. You understand? Let them assist unknown, not Nigerians who have made it, to get linked up with people who will pull them up.
All right.
I also said something to that, my friend, we're talking, that it's a shame that in the 21st century, year 2022, our governments, our governors and presidents are celebrating road construction and rehabilitation for us, which is what should have been done 100 years ago. So I'm not going to pretend or deny. But what I'm saying is all these are man-made. And like somebody will always say, "Gbogbo wa la lọ́wọ́ ńbẹ̀."
All right. The Envy Global report also highlighted several factors which influence a country's passport strength. And the first is income. They talked about countries that have higher gross domestic product per capita, according to World Bank data, that also enjoy more visa-free destination. And, we talk about things about individuals from countries with high levels of poverty and economic instability are considered as posing a high risk for overstaying their visa. They also talked about the issue of security, in those countries as well, which are also factors. And when you look at the Nigerian situation, you might want to agree with Andy Global. But again, I'll get back to the activities of certain Nigerians. Recently, Dubai, even made, stiffer rules as regards accessing their visa by Nigerians. It's now a case of you have to apply for a family visa, and indeed you have to come.
And Dubai used to be the example for a country that, had seemingly simple visa requirements from Nigerians.
For Nigerians. And it was due to the activities of some Nigerians who went there and brandishing cutlasses on the streets of Dubai. as a means of saying we're celebrating cultism or whatever. You look at what's happening in northern Cyprus. In fact, the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission has gone as far as asking Nigerians to not visit or try to live in northern Cyprus for now because of some of the very strict regulations. Look at Saudi Arabia, how many Nigerians we have on the death row. So the activities of these Nigerians and the activities of our missions again. Sometimes you have Nigerians who are picked up or arrested on death row that an intervention from the government could resolve this situation. You even find a case where many Nigerians travel with their Nigerian passport to certain African countries and they are not treated well at the point of arrival. We've seen several of these stories on social media of people who've gone to
Ghana,
Mauritania, in Ghana, in South Africa.
And by the way, Ghana ranks higher than we do on this.
So, on the part of the citizen, because but you have talked about how many African countries want to be us. They want to get close to Nigerians. They want to tackle us, so to say, because they believe that we have something that we do not have. But do you still think that is the case? Is this still the case now, where we have other countries? You go, a Nigerian goes to Kenya, for instance, and you're even treated like a second-class citizen.
It is unfortunate and painful to some of us who've been there. Like I said, no matter what you've achieved, no matter what you think, there is that element of second class. It's still there that you receive. Even if you're a professor in universities, I see that element. Believe it. I have a lot of friends who are lecturers. They see that element of second class because of your color. I agree painfully with those things you have said. That's what you have. And largely, that's why I don't pretend it's all about failure of government. There's none of this crime you've talked about that we don't have in the United States, for instance. But people don't look at that. They look more at what the government, the constituted authority, is doing. And because it's like a father who has about 10 children, and 9 of them are successful, including the father and the mother are respected people, and you have about 2-3 people to. Sometimes you have it happen 2 out of so is a pass mark. That's what Nigerian governments are not doing. They are the ones who should do more of this. For instance, if you ensure that your citizens are not aspiring to live abroad, stopping anybody from aspiring to live abroad is not by enacting any law. It's by providing what that people thinks is lacking, which we can do. Don't forget, that's why I premise that. That's why I started this discussion from the fact that every of our problems are man-made. We don't have natural disaster. We don't. A couple of months ago, we were all crying the heat. Oof, it's so long, so on. And God decided to change it for us. Nobody did anything. Our researchers, scientists didn't do anything. And we had this blistering cold. Government did not do anything to it. And then we started complaining. And God again in his.
Right.
So these are natural gifts. That's what our government should be done. These things are possible.
All right.
Pure and simple. I talked about in the 80s. When I sat there in Lagos and got 3 admissions. I was not interested. I applied though. But I never tried. They were even pressurized me. You have not resumed. You have not resumed. If I want to go, all I need is just buy my ticket.
And off you go.
And off I go.
One last question, Dele, and please answer this in 10 seconds if you can. Is it fair to hold every Nigerian accountable for the actions of a few misbehaving Nigerians when for every Nigerian who does something bad outside the country, we also have those who are doing stellar things? I mean, the whole world remembers what Toby Amushon did, and she's not the only one. We have Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, we have, you even mentioned Kemi Badenoch, we have Chimamanda Ngozi. So there are Nigerians who are doing great things. Why is this sort of, is it a kind of double standard, and why does it apply to Nigerians particularly?
It's not just unfair, it's naturally against God, the law of God, like I said, from what people are doing. But interestingly, like the Yoruba will say, it is the foul odor that spreads faster than the flowery odor. Chika come back to it soils the others. So it is expected. And like I said, because our government themselves are not protecting us. That's why I use the example of the IPOP stay at home.
All right.
Okay.
We need to get to the phone lines
That we
now.
do. That we do.
0704 400 1067 0817 444 1067 0817 555 1067. Let's get to the phone lines now. We have one of the lines ringing now. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Oh, we lost that one. Call us back if you can. Please keep your thoughts to 1 minute when you call 0817 555 1067 0817 444 1067 0704 400 1067. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Afolabi is my name.
Afolabi.
I'm calling
Good
from
morning.
Abeokuta.
Go ahead,
Yes,
please.
Mr. Dele, good morning, sir. Thank you for this submission. You have said it all. We fought it. It is not a natural problem. It is our own problem. And it is until we fix the problems that we see things change. How do we explain a country where we have enormous natural and the mineral resources, where we couldn't harness all these resources for the betterment of our nation? There are people we still have to run to other countries in order to seek for a greener pasture. So, let me tell you, a lot of countries we have to consider things like this because we have to their burden when we come. So they will consider it. Then you have said something again. We have portrayed our nation the way those people see it there, by our character, by what we say, by what we publicize. So what do you expect? If we are in their position, we will do the same. Even in this Nigeria, I have seen a situation where there was an accident somewhere, and a Hausa man was killed. And one of our people was saying something. In your meeting, two people died there. One person and one Mala. So this is part of us. We are human beings. We can't take it away. That place belongs to them. They will have to protect those places. So we also have that right. That
Please wrap up now.
Almost or not to protect our place. We always experience this. We have to change. We have to let things go the proper way so that we can have a better recognition all over the world.
All right. Thank you, Afolabi, for your contribution. Let's take this other call. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Nicholas.
Nicholas, go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, Sadele. You see, we cannot undermine sentiment and emotion when we talk about patriotism. During the Second World War, an American soldier was shot. He, as in his comrade, disobeyed his commander not to go and get him. As the commander turned his face, this man went to pick up that dead soldier or dying soldier and was engaging the enemy until he got to his own trench. And the commander told him, "What a waste. He's dead and you are dying." He said, "Yes, sir. But you know what he told me? He said, I knew you would come for me. I knew you would come for me." You see, let us be sincere. Beyond how Nigerians behave everywhere, in every country in this world, only the Jews or the Chinese come close to Nigerians in anything good or evil. But until the history is written by the hunter, it would favor the lions. So even those who wrote this report cannot explain themselves from the present state of affairs in Nigeria. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Nicholas. Have a nice day yourself. We can take one call before we have to go on a break, but don't worry. If you still want to call us, we'll still take a few more calls when we come back from the break. But if you can call us now, 0704 400 1067, 0817 444 1067. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Slash.
Good morning, Babari.
Bega and Lola. Good morning. I beg, I don't know. I want to seek your permission because of your guest in the house. There's a vital topic I want to ask him. I want to know why, because he's vast in the area. I don't know whether you will permit me. It is not inside what you have discussed this morning. I don't know whether you can give me the go ahead.
Please go ahead, but briefly.
Thank you, my brother. Dele, recently we heard that the man I knew that was the really modern Russian, Mikhail Gorbachev, died. And he was not really given the much respect that he is supposed to have been given in his homeland, Russia, by Vladimir Putin. Then the Queen of England died recently. It was a global, acceptance and, recognition that this was a great queen. So why was this Mikhail Gorbachev accorded this? Because this was a man who opened up the modern Russia. And he gave the Russian nation, most of the union under the Soviet Union, their independence. And he is not being given this recognition that he really... So that is my question, Dele, because I know you are vast on this international relations.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
He will respond when we come back from this commercial break. Well, it's put you on the spot there, but we'll take several other calls on our issue of the day, and then when we are done, we'll let Dele quickly respond to that before we get to the newspapers.
That's
all right, please stay with us. We'll be back.
Splash FM 106.7.
àṣeyọrí gan làgbà iṣẹ́ gbogbo aláṣeyọrí ayọ̀ aláṣeyọrí class home and property limited lónìí ọ̀pọ̀ ilẹ̀ wọn ti di wámútìrẹ́ báyìí lórí owó tí kò ga ju ara lọ randa extension hilltop máwùkọ́ àti kọ̀bàpẹ́ 100,000 ní plọ̀tì yìí bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni lóko wọn ti di ọ̀pọ̀ yùkẹ́ mo lọ́kẹ̀dẹ̀ 25,000 ní plọ̀tì kan bẹ̀ kọ̀bàpẹ́ alábàtà òṣìṣẹ́lẹ̀ 30,000 ní plọ̀tì ẹ̀ra plọ̀tì mẹ́ta kẹ́ẹ̀gbá ìdajì sí bó sì jẹ́ ékalẹ̀ra òdìdí lẹ́gbàsí pẹ̀lú ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àǹfààní tẹ́ẹ̀jẹ̀ lórí ilé oko wọn torí pé àwọn onírà àti onímọ̀ ìjìnlẹ̀ ti wà níkàlẹ̀ láti là ń lọ́yẹ̀ lórí kan tẹ́ gbìn sí ilé oko tẹ́ ẹ bára 4 mọ̀túndì abíọ́láwé ilé-ìgò Dele express furniture ni wọ́n wà ọlọ́ṣogbo abẹ́òkúta Ògùn state 08033086557 08033086557 lóòótọ́ àṣeyọrí gan làgbà iṣẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ ń bá ń bá wa ná dandan ní kẹ́ ẹ láṣeyọrí ayọ̀ lọ́dọ̀ tiwa.
ogúnjọ́ oṣù kẹsàn-án làǹfààní yìí ó parí o.
In good time. Worry no more. The Integrity Station, Splash FM 106.7, has got all it takes to put your business and services on the map and give you the desired reach that you need. With our affordable rates, amazing reach, and quality programs, you can rest assured that we will take your business to greater heights. Do business with us today. For inquiries and advert placements, outdoor coverage, events, and many more, contact us via telephone on 0811-249-0577 or visit our corporate office, Kilometer 1, MKO Abiola Way, Abetu Junction, Abeokuta, Ogun State. Splash FM 106.7, Abeokuta, the Integrity Station. We always have you covered.
ọ̀pọ̀ ló ti jàǹfààní àìlóǹkà ènìyàn ló ń jàǹfààní lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ tó o bá fẹ́ wà nínú àwọn ọ̀gọ̀ọ̀rọ̀ tó sì máa jàǹfààní nínú òwò igi ọ̀pẹ èyí tó wà nílẹ̀ tí iléeṣẹ́ First January Agro Limited ti pèsè fún àwọn ènìyàn tí wọ́n ronú ọjọ́ ọ̀la wọn. Igi ọ̀pẹ nìkan ńlá fẹ́ gbìn fún gbogbo ẹni tó bá ti 50 litres jáde lọ́dọọdún fún odindi ọdún 5 tó bá ti wá di ọdún 6. Ẹ̀yin fúnra yín lẹ́wàá gba oko yín tòun ti igi ọ̀pẹ 60 tó wà lórí ẹ̀. 1 million naira ní ilẹ̀ éka kan o tí ẹ ó sì ní igi ọ̀pẹ 60 ìyẹn 60 tó máa jẹ́ àjẹmọ́nú yín oúnjẹ àjẹdálẹ̀ yín. Ìparí oṣù September ńláǹfààní yóò dópin Ansarudeen House Pepsi Quarry Road Lábẹ́òkúta pé 08165646535.
Honey, must you go?
Babe, you know I must. Besides, you can always video call me.
Hey, what if your battery runs out?
I've got my power bank.
Hey, and when your power bank runs out?
Babe, I've got my laptop.
Okay, wait. What if your data runs out?
Babe, you know we never run out of data.
Never run out of data with Airtel Home Broadband Unlimited Ultra plans. Enjoy unlimited data with no speed cap plus extra data daily, so you never have to worry about running out. Visit www.airtel.com.ng/HBB to get started.
Babe, but I just left the house.
Yes, honey. It's video calling all the way.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
gbogbo ọ̀nà irene níléeṣẹ́ àgbájọ homes and property nigeria limited àwọn ilẹ̀ wọn kọjá bẹ́ẹ̀ kẹ̀tíkẹ̀tí ló ń tà torí pé ó pọ̀ ju owó rẹ̀ lọ. ilẹ̀ ìbára orílẹ̀ kọ́pàpẹ́ àgbòdo 200,000 ní tẹ́lẹ̀ báyìí lórí promo wọn 100,000 lẹ́sàn. tẹ̀sí mọ̀ pé iléeṣẹ́ àgbájọ kò ní jẹ́ ta ilẹ̀ inú igbó láéláé. ilẹ̀ ń bẹ ní ìdíòrì onígangan òṣèlẹ̀ kọ́pàpẹ́ ṣòdẹ̀kẹ̀tìtò bẹ́ẹ̀ sì nílé oko wọn igbó ọ̀rà ìbára orílẹ̀ ọ̀pẹ́jì 30,000 ní plọ̀tì kan bẹ́ẹ̀ bára plọ̀tì mẹ́ta ẹ gba ìdajì sí bó sì jẹ́ ékalẹ̀rà odidi lẹ́ẹ̀gbà sí táwọn tí ó bá yín gbìnrín oko yín sì wà nílẹ̀ àwọn kan náà ni wọ́n bá yín tà á 39 NTA Road ọgbẹ́ Abẹ́òkúta 07044648338 07044648338 ẹ jẹ́ ká gbé ìgbésẹ̀ àtẹ̀mí àti àwọn ìsìnkú kọ̀ọ̀kan kú.
Ogúnjọ́ oṣù kẹsàn-án làǹfààní yìí ó parí o.
kọ́lé mara lẹ̀. ọmọdégbé o.
Wow. If you must secure the future of your children, then you must act right and timely. Nítorí àdúrà gbogbo òbí ni wípé ká jèrè àwọn ọmọ wa lẹ́yìn wá ọ̀la. Exciting experience awaits you at Bolif International Schools, comprising crèche, nursery, primary, and our college. Bolif College, Bolif International Schools, and college is government approved and situated in a conducive learning environment. Our facilities include IT laboratory with internet access, standard science laboratory, art and music studio, yàrá ìkọ́ṣẹ́ iṣẹ́ ọnà àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Ọkọ̀ bọ̀gìnì tún wà. Enroll your children now at Bolif International Schools or Bolif College today. Bolif International School, Montessori, and Bolif College are situated at Rock City Avenue, Goshen Estate, Ashiro Abeokuta, Ogun State, 08068323811 or 08033186411. Bolif Group of Schools. Readers are great leaders.
Ọ̀yá lágbolé aláyọ̀ torí pé eléyìí gangan dùn ní níléeṣẹ́ Atlantic Estate and Homes Limited lórí àwọn ilẹ̀ wọn. Ilẹ̀ onígangan àti ilẹ̀ ìyànàgún pati rádà.
250,000 naira ní.
Ilẹ̀ ń bẹ ní òbúrò àwòwò àti ẹ̀yìn Ecogas lólómore. Akíjọ́lé làlà ládìrín extension. Bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ń lé oko wọn. Alábàtẹ̀rinlẹ̀ ìṣìhún mọ́lọ́gẹ̀dẹ̀ kọ́bàpẹ́ ìṣàgọ́ orílẹ̀ ọba dá oko pàkúdé.
25,000 naira làwọn ilẹ̀ yìí.
Ẹ bára plot mẹ́ta ẹ ti láǹfààní sí ìdajì. Ó jẹ́ ékalẹ̀rà òdìlẹ́gbàsí àwọn onírà ti wà ńlẹ̀ tí wọ́n ṣe àlàyé tàbí báyìí rà lórí ìrètò bá ilé oko yín mu 30 ilé ẹjọ́ lónìí bú Lagos Abeokuta expressway lọ́nà tó lọ sí Biori láfihàn Abeokuta Ogun State 08138454500 08138454500.
ọjọ́ kejìdínlógún oṣù kẹsàn-án ọdún yìí làǹfààní yìí yóò wà sópin.
mo ti dọ̀nílẹ̀ mo ti dà láyọ̀.
Splash FM 106.7.
Panorama.
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 Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
6.7 FM. After that commercial break, we'll take one or two calls and then we'll get to your comments on social media. We're streaming live on Facebook, so that means you can also drop your comment there at any point during this conversation. WhatsApp is another channel, Twitter as well, and don't forget the hashtag Panorama on Splash. 0704-400-1067, 0817-444-1067, 0817-555-1067.
For our issue of the day, we looked at the Henley Passport third quarter index, which ranked Nigerian passports 100th out of 199 countries. We looked at the significance of this as well as its implications with veteran broadcaster as well as public affairs analyst Dele Ayodo. And as Gwega has said, we can accommodate your calls, as I'm sure you've noted several questions and comments that you'd like to offer up while the conversation was ongoing. Let's get to WhatsApp now and look at some of the comments that we have there. The first one is from Dr. Okoye Shegun from Isolu community, who says, Nigeria passport... Isolu community. Nigeria passport ranking 100 out of 199 countries with and still downsliding. It shows our image internationally, which is not surprising with a high rate of jackpot and crime-related offenses by Nigerians in diaspora. Our passport is our identity. Let's bring the green passport out with pride by protecting it with a high level of integrity. Great people, great nation. Dr. Ayodo Isaiah Shegun says, I want to appreciate the veteran journalist and broadcaster, Mr. Dele Ayodo, for his brilliant submission this morning. I always enjoy his analysis. My question, don't you think the negative ways Nigerians react on issues affecting our nation is an act of frustration? The propagating of the nation's image should not lie on Nigerians alone, but our leaders who have a lot to do. What is your take on the level of bad governance, corruption that has spread like wildfire among Nigerian leaders in government? This next comment is from Reverend Zachariah Olubayo Taningbola from Wasimi, who says, to revive this nation, we need to go back to God. The righteousness exalts the nation. Next up is Ola Joel, who says, our problem is that we are not one. We're just deceiving ourselves that we are one. This, hence, is as a result of nepotism and injustice being demonstrated by our leaders. We need to overhaul our constitution and also restructure our country. We need to carry every ethnic nationality who are part of the country called Nigeria along in terms of governance of this country. Surakat Abdulhamid Abiodun says, with what Mr. Ayodo has alluded about the lackadaisical attitude of Nigerian government and the Nigerian commissions abroad, can he still tell me why he still doesn't believe the data being used in arriving at this report? So we should not just be carried away about being too Nigerian than Nigeria, but rather face reality so that the authorities can do the needful. Akinwale from camp says, I am so emotional listening to Uncle Dele this morning. I hold the same opinion as him that Nigeria is the most blessed nation in the world, the best weather, human resource, natural resources, and water view. And crime is not limited to us. Snatching, abina, picking is common on the streets of London. Hearsay, though. I have had many...
Not hearsay.
Well,
Maybe
he's
it's
saying
not
that's,
been
yeah, he's saying from
Not
what he's
hearsay,
heard.
not
But you're
hearsay.
saying you can confirm it.
I am confirming it.
Oh, you've been
I
pickpocketed
saw
before.
rats in my room in Tottenham. I saw rats on the street of New York. I saw people pee on
Okay.
the streets of New York.
He continues with, I have had many Asians, I don't want to mention countries, come into my WhatsApp and Telegram group attempting to scam me. They are so common in Telegram. Ọmọ ẹni kò ní ṣe ìdí bẹ̀bẹ̀rẹ̀ ká fi lẹ̀kẹ̀ sí ìdí ẹlòmíràn. Don't be impressed. I had to consult before saying this one. No one will truly take care of us as much as our country would. In the last few months, I've been posting newspaper front pages from across the globe on my WhatsApp status. I hardly see crimes being reported on their front pages. I wish the media would put a limit to how we report crime and criminalities in our country. It kind of puts us in a bad light. I'm aware of a country in Asia that is even more criminally inclined than we are. There are scammers on Facebook Marketplace who are British and American, but Nigerians are the chief fraudsters of the world. Abibi will rewrite the narrative. Nigeria will be great again. Final comment from WhatsApp is from, you didn't include your name. Please next time, make sure to send in your name with your comment. But you said, do our leaders know poor governance and mismanagement of resources impeded Nigeria's global acceptance? Nigerians should not travel overseas to perpetrate evil, but to do the right things. If one travels for the right reasons, the rate of assault will be minimal. These countries allow people who want to contribute to their economy without much interrogation.
All right, on Twitter, Olufemi Olaoluwa says passports are ranked according to the number of destinations holders can enter without applying for a visa in advance. It's obvious our passport has no value. Well, that is one of the reasons we've mentioned some of the other criteria on the program this morning as well. On Facebook, there's a lot of good morning. There's a lot of greetings there. But this one from Ogundo Yoluwashon says, honestly, Mr. Ayodo is doing justice to the issue as a veteran. Okay.
All right, Mr. Ayodo, if you'd like to quickly respond to Babari's initial earlier question about Gorbachev and Queen Elizabeth.
Well, when he said, I use the phrase, which is the common phrase in Russia, then go, go. You see, the fact about life and humans is that a rebel fighter or a freedom fighter is both a villain and a hero. Those who see him as fighting for them or their rights see him as a hero. But those who is fighting against, who is going to take something away, see him as a villain. That's who Gorbachev is. It's not every Russian, USSR, not Russian, that supported the breakdown, the end of that Cold War. Because truly, look at it, that immediately placed United States above as number one country. At that time, it was both USSR and United States that were fighting for who controls the world. USSR went to space before America. Sporting activity, USSR are always dominating. And in terms of military might, there's that deterrent between the two of them. That's where they came with that idea of no other person should acquire nuclear arm. But Gorbachev broke that by becoming a diplomatic international person. The world hailed him. His colleagues, fellow head of states, hailed him as a democrat. But to some people in USSR, particularly Russians, they see him as a chicken. They see him as a coward. They see him as somebody who gave out the power of the USSR. And immediately America entered USSR and began to pick them in the name of democracy. And of course, like I say, as a Nigerian, you should define democracy in your own way. It's different from that of Queen of England or the head of Great Britain. I hope that because that's not the topic. So it's natural. All people always see him in that. Sure it's like the breakdown of the Berlin Wall.
Well, this will possibly form part of our conversation tomorrow. We're having a professor of history, Professor Adeshina, on the program tomorrow. It's going to be an interesting twist to it because we're going to be looking at the issue of colonialism and also touch on the Civil War and the part that the Crown and the British played in all of that as well. So it looks like Bawari preempted us for a bit there. But thank you. I hope Dele Ayodo has been able to do justice to you at least on the surface.
Has, yes.
On the surface.
Quickly, can I just respond to some of those messages you read? There are so many of them, but the ones I can pick. One, somebody said part of our problem is our size and language. I think no. Vehemently no. Do you know that Great Britain, even to today, the Welsh have their own language, not English. Have their own language. So it's not, I think our size and population should be an advantage. Look at China. That's what they are doing. Look at United States of America. That's what they are doing. I repeat this. Crime is everywhere. There's no crime we have in Nigeria that we don't have elsewhere. It's the way we react, the way they come easy and go easy, perhaps because of our problem. And I'll never pretend. Somebody said I cannot pretend to be a Nigerian more than. I'm not pretending. I'm a Nigerian more than a Nigeria. I don't have any other country. I've just said so. I was born in this country. I've lived my life in this country. Not even Mr. President is more Nigerian than me. If you think you are less Nigerian, that's for you. But for me, Dele Ayodo, I'm more Nigerian than Nigeria. That's the only thing I'm proud of I have as a land. Nobody gave it to me. It's a natural thing. So I'm more Nigerian than Nigeria, if that phrase exists. So that's my position.
All right, on that note, let's rest our issue of the day so that we can take you through the newspapers. We'll be reading stories from different papers. I have here The Punch as well as Premium Times and maybe Guardian too.
I'll check out the Nigerian Tribune newspaper and the Nation newspaper. Unfortunately, we do not have physical copies of the papers this morning, so we have to make do with the online versions.
That's right. All right, let me pick some of the choicest stories from The Punch now. Says Tinubu better than Atiku Makinde plot to frustrate voters. Federal government may lose 7.58 trillion naira to contract disputes and damages. SANS profs to defend ASU before industrial court. This is something that tells me this will be about the no work, no pay policy. Gunmen attack Ifeanyi Uba's convoy. Policemen feared killed. And just last week, I believe, we still talked about exodus of doctors. A medical body is saying that 500 senior doctors left Nigeria. On oil theft, federal government loses 13.21 million barrels of oil worth 603.64 billion naira in 2022. And Lagos is yet again home to another collapse, this time a fence collapse, and unfortunately there are casualties. Lagos school fence collapses, kills 2 children. That's what this headline reads. Let's move over now to Premium Times newspaper and take you through some stories there. There's an analysis here, and best believe we'll talk about this because I think it's one of the outcomes of, PDP's meeting. It says, is PDP's sacrifice enough to appease Wike aggrieved members? Supreme Court judges drop to 13 as another one retires. Gunmen attack Nigerian senator's convoy, kill police officers, others. Wike exhumes APC plot against Tinubu as Atiku calls bluff. More stories now. Want to call Mamu. SSS warns against unguarded utterances. As ASU strike lingers, American online university graduates over 400 Nigerians. NDLEA says Brazilian returnee excretes 92 wraps of cocaine at Abuja airport. Police commissioner tells Lagosians to resist demand for bribe by officers. Strike. Nigerian government takes ASU to court. Nigeria records 21 monkeypox cases in 7 days. A campaign spokesperson says Kwankwaso is not stepping down for Atiku and Tinubu. Ekiti Oshun polls, more questions trail INEC's server claims. Oyo APC alleges plan by PDP INEC to frustrate voters relocating. I'm reading now from The Guardian. Rivers NSCDC arrests 3 suspects, recovers 27,000 liters of stolen fuel. Construction materials prices surge, threaten housing industry. 2 dead, 6 missing in Jigawa canoe mishap. That's what the police says. I'll give it a rest now so Wega can take us through some other papers.
Let me start with the Nation newspaper. NAITI 2021 audit to establish volume of stolen crude oil. DSS denies lawyers, family members access to MAMU. Let's see more here. NCDC, 36 monkeypox cases recorded in 1 week. We've dealt with this on Panorama a few weeks ago, especially about monkeypox. And now you can protect yourself. We'll retire political tourist Atiku to Dubai, says Shetima. 210 days after, federal government asks courts to stop ASU strike. Nigeria debt stock hit 45.25 trillion naira. Alake, no candidate can match Tinubu's achievement. Supreme Court depleted as Justice Aboki retires. 6 Fiat killed in Uba's convoy attack. These are some of the headlines you find in the Nation newspaper today. And for the Nigerian Tribune, despite vote of confidence, IU faces critical week. 6 policemen feared killed as seem to be having
all right, well, we might as well delve into some of the stories. If we can get to those, we'll get back to it. But let's begin with, as I said, the outcome of the PDP's attempts to reconcile or perhaps appease Governor Wike. You had a Board of Trustee member Jibrin stepping down and Wabara taking his place. Dele Ayodo, what are your thoughts? This question asks pointedly, is PDP's sacrifice enough to appease Wike and aggrieved members? We know that Wike has been gunning for Iyorchia Ayu's position. Do you think that this is enough of a concession to possibly appease him? Do you think he even needs to be appeased? Because there are some people who say, he doesn't need to be appeased.
Lola, he needs to be appeased for politics. Wike has shown that. He has proven that. For those who talk about equity and justice, I think simply equity also demands that Wike is not alone. Himself and others, PDP have wronged not just Wike. Wike is probably just standing for that position. PDP started zoning and entrenched it. They made it look as a peaceful answer to our political problem between the two Idigi brothers, the North and the South. And we all accepted it. Prior to the primaries, that was their campaign strategy. And the moment they realize that the other party are not likely to bring, so they turn it into winning rather than equity. So it's going to go from the north to the north.
What PDP's claim in that regard is that their zoning applies within their party, meaning that their party last fielded a southern candidate, and now their party zoning that they understand, their party is now field in northern candidates. I know who rules Nigeria.
Let me give it to PDP. I'm not a member of PDP, even though I again say that is part of the stealing they've done, immorality. But let me say that is correct, if that's what they are. But look at all the major, significant, visible positions in the PDP. And they're accusing the APC of the same thing. It's staying in the north. And that's Wike's claim. Agreed. Every politician, not just Wike, the first reason to fight is how did it affect me, not us, not we, me. I agree. And then they now look for a suitable defense for it. So Wike may have his own personal reason for fighting. The PDP has made it justifiable. And whether the sacrifice of the Cardinal BOT chairman will appease him, the answer is no. The BOT chairman is just a group of elders, advisory elders, that they don't really have any power. It's all that of respect, depending on who is holding that position.
But people had said that that was one of the significant positions being held in the north. And so,
well,
Southerner now taking that
that's
position.
if Wike's group agrees that, if that is it. Remember, GSM, Sheyi Makinde just rejected the chairman of the governorship position.
Mm-hmm.
They have a demand, they have a target. And that's to see the end of IU.
So nothing less than his resignation
candidate
will suffice.
That's the only sacrifice.
But they were instrumental to IU getting there.
And that's why they want to show him that we made you. We could also...
But a vote of confidence from the highest decision-making organ of the party. There's a possibility how you could resign?
I think they should sacrifice IU. I think they should sacrifice IU.
But what happens if IU resigns? It's still, by the party's constitution, it still has to be someone from the north that takes charge. The only other alternative is to have a caretaker committee, and we discussed this issue at length last week.
It will create a constitutional issue, really. That's true, because they can't just put a southerner in there. It's ascendancy. If he resigns, the next person in rank takes over, who is still a northerner. But beyond this, why you said they need to appease Wike, Lola, history of Nigerian politics confirms it, that to defeat an incumbent government, you need to gang up the opposition. You need to gang up. The first attempt was in 1963. The opposition failed to gang up. The Awolowo's disease. The Aminu Kano did not gang up. So Tafawa Balewa was returned as the head of government of Nigeria. They refused to gang up. The next attempt after that was 1983, when there was opportunity for again the likes of Ibrahim Gwaziri of the GNPP, Aminu Kano of PRP, Zik of NPP, Obafemi Awolowo of UPN to gang up against Shagari of MPN. Again, they refused to gang up. They thought they would do it individually, and again they failed.
Maybe a coalition, MPN. Maybe not a gang.
Okay, yeah. I agree. You call it diplomatically coalition, but the reality is a gang up. You know me, I'm a factual person. It's a gang up. We know the only thing we look for is to drive Boyega away. It's not that we are compatible. It's not that we can work together. So what is coalition?
So you have a common interest.
That's why I use the word gang up. It's deliberate. I agree to be diplomatic. You say coalition, the two are correct anyway. Now, that was 1983. The second attempt, they failed. Shagari was returned an MPN. So, the next attempt was 2003. Opportunity for them to drive away Obasanjo and the PDP. They failed. The current president, and the others thought they could have it. 2007, they refused to gang up. 2011, 2015. And then came the so-called coalition that you prefer. And those who have been attempting to become president, Otin Lule, eventually became president. These are facts. And that's my fear. Well, not a fear. To APC, is good for them.
Right. There are those who say that, others are overstating Wike's importance of political clout.
Well, we'll see that when it comes. If they didn't settle it in 2003, I'm not going to be bothered whether they overstate or understating. But I've just given you a historical fact. And that is what happened in 2023 if they continue this rumble.
But Wike himself is hinging his support of Atiku's, his party's presidential bid based on Ayu's resignation. So should it not go his way, what do you foresee happening?
He has said it himself. I'll quote him. He said, since Ayu wants to destroy PDP, they will help him to destroy it. That's my answer.
But PDP lost the presidential election in 2015 and they've survived till date. Do you think losing again in 2023 could mark the end of the PDP as we know it?
It won't. They've been the only party, even when we have disintegration looming in 2015, the new PDP, and when we thought some major actors in PDP were going to collapse the umbrella. It didn't collapse. PDP will survive even if they lose 2022.
All right.
They've proven that.
Let's check another story. Last week I was saying how a day does not pass that you do not have Wike and the PDP in the newspapers, and today is not any different. But this story is rather sad. 6 feared killed in Uba's convoy attack. No fewer than 6 persons were feared killed last night in an attack on the convoy of Senator Ifeanyi Ubah by gunmen in Anambra State. And I saw a particular video yesterday, and it was a gory sight. You could see people that have been shot dead, some police officers, some of his aides right there in the car. And I counted about 5 or 6 cars, that was abandoned right there at the spot. The state of security in the southeast, and especially going into an election here, do you have any fears as regards the election, especially?
Well, my fear is not about whether there will be an election or not. Like people say, there will be election. I repeat, and with emphasis, there will be.
So what is your fear?
Election. Then? My fear is that we seems to be downplaying the situation in the southeast. Attention seems to be more on banditry and terrorist activities in the north. The major difference of that of the southeast is that the criminality is more political. It is more political than any other thing. It is about the quest and inch to lead that group, either as a bloc or as a recognized state. That is the problem. And the people in the southeast are the one who could deal with it more, assisted heavily by the federal government. It's not the federal government first and the people themselves, because the people themselves, the leadership, political leadership, economic leadership, traditional leadership of the southeast that would take the lead, supported their constitutional authority, this group, supported heavily, like I said, by the federal government. It's not that the federal government, because if the federal government takes the lead, it becomes suppression, meaning will be read to it. Because that's the problem in the southeast. It's political power tussle. That's why people like Andy Ubah and the current governor of Imo State, Hope, to me, are critical indigenous species. They are the villains of Southeast politics today. That's what is happening. And people will just, of course, the issue of IPOB is about political quest. That's the situation. And it's very critical. It's damaging the Southeast heavily, more than any other person. Heavily, more than any other person. Unfortunately, those who are not in the Southeast, who are in the comfort zones of other Nigerian cities, particularly in the Southwest, who are from the Southeasterners, are playing with it. Because it's like during the Civil War, we in the Southwest, as a Yoruba, we are just hearing of the report. And that's what those who are there, they've forgotten what happened between 1966 and 1970. 1970, the Biafran War. So that's what those who are the big men from the southeast who are far away from there are just looking at it as if it's an ordinary issue. It's about PDP and APC. It's about Buhari. They target about Buhari's government or action and inaction. It's far beyond that and more delicate and dangerous than that. So it's the Southeastern themselves that can take the initiative. That's what I say about it.
All right, tweet your thoughts at us at Splash FM 1067 on Twitter. Don't forget to include the hashtag Panorama on Splash in your tweets. Hashtag Panorama on Splash in your tweet. Alternatively, you can send a message to our Facebook live stream at Splash FM 106.7 or send us a message on WhatsApp if you so please. 08175551067 is the number to do that too. Let's look at these headlines before we have to go on a commercial break. The Nigerian government has approached the National Industrial Court sitting in Abuja requesting an order for the Academic Staff Union of Universities to resume while the dispute is being addressed. The new developments, the ministry said, followed the failure to reach an agreement through dialogue over the ongoing 7-month-old strike. Let's switch over to this story. It's more of the same, but this one from the Punch reads, SANS props to defend ASU before Industrial Court. It says members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, who are senior advocates of Nigeria and professors of law, among others, will be defending the union as the case instituted by the federal government at the National Industrial Court comes up for hearing today. Let's take that. Okay, well, we can quickly take a minute or so of analysis from Dele before we go for that commercial break.
Let me start by being sarcastic. I will leave anything, no matter how critical, that I have to do on the day the case is to come up. Wherever it is coming, they said the airfare to Abuja is 100K. I will borrow to go and watch for one reason.
Why?
If Professor Yemi Oshibajo will also be in court as part of the lawyers.
Defending the government?
I don't know anyone either defending the government or on the side of ASU. I expect him to support ASU. Okay.
Oh, because he's going back to the universities.
He will go back and he's a lawyer, SCN. So I would like to go and watch that. But that's just been that just been sarcastic. Interesting. I'm happy. The two sides have gone to court, both ASU and federal government. Let's see. They say it's a judicial issue. I'm not a lawyer. Therefore, I'm not a judge.
But do you think the federal government has a case in that it says...
all of them have a case. Or none of them has a case. It's both sides.
The federal government
even before federal government went to court, I said to myself when I heard ASU, how are you sure you are not the one who is keeping these children in school? That was my first thing at home. So it's the same question.
Let's proceed on that commercial break. Now, when we come back, we'll wrap up with this ASU federal government issue and then maybe take one or two more stories and get to the phone lines.
Don't dare touch that dial. It's Splash, your integrity station.
Mr. Benson. Ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe pè mí tó láìpẹ́ yìí ni?
Orúkẹ́ jọ ṣe tèmi. Máa tọ́jú ẹ̀.
Mr. Benson, ẹ dúró ná. Níbo gan ni lẹ́yìn wá?
Ilẹ̀kẹ̀. Wo Ọlọ́run á ṣe jàre.
Tàbá ní ká wò. Ojúmọ́ kò ní lọ kẹ́ má pè mí. Tàbá wá ṣírò gbogbo owó tẹ fi ń pè mí yìí pọ̀ lóṣù. Bí 150,000 naira mà nìyẹn. Ẹ ṣe kúkú fowó yín ra ohun tá a mú yẹ̀sì fún yín nísìnyí àti lọ́jọ́ iwájú. Ilé iṣẹ́ IAS. Ẹ wá jẹ́ àǹfààní independence promo tó lọ lọ́wọ́ nílé iṣẹ́ wa. Pẹ̀lú ẹ̀dínwó tó nítumọ̀ lórí Honey Drop Town Estate wa ní Ìkẹrẹ̀kú Ìdàn tó wà nítòsí Òkè Àtà Lábẹ́òkúta 250,000 naira láta plot ilẹ̀ kan bẹ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀. Àmọ́ ó ti di 150,000 naira báyìí. Iná ìjọba tó dúró déédéé ló wà ń bẹ̀. Pẹ̀lú ojú ọ̀nà tó jagere. Ó sì jẹ́ Profit City tó wà ní orílẹ̀ Ajẹ́lẹ̀fẹ́ ni. Ìrìn ìṣẹ́jú méje péré ni sí Alámọ̀lá Barracks ní Randa Abẹ́òkúta 200,000 naira láta plot ilẹ̀ kan bẹ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀. Àmọ́ ó ti di 150,000 naira báyìí. Ẹ tètè wá jàǹfààní kó tó kásẹ̀ lẹ̀ lọ́dún kẹẹ̀ẹ́dógún oṣù yìí. Ẹ kàn sí iléeṣẹ́ IAS tó bá súnmọ́ yín jùlọ. Pé 0809-294-4848. Honey, must you go?
Babe, you know I must. Besides, you can always video call me.
What if your battery runs out?
I've got my power bank.
Hey,
And when your power bank runs out?
Babe, I've got my laptop.
Okay, wait. What if your data runs out?
Babe, you know we never run out of data.
Never run out of data with Airtel Home Broadband Unlimited Ultra plans. Enjoy unlimited data with no speed cap plus extra data daily, so you never have to worry about running out. Visit www.airtel.com.ng/HBB to get started.
Babe, but I just left the house.
Yes, honey. It's video calling all the way.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
ABR ọ̀rẹ́ àgbẹ̀ àbísúyọ lóko bọ̀pá dé. Wọ́n ní ẹ ò gbọ́dọ̀ kárí ẹ̀ lórí ìgbọ̀ ọ̀tún. Pàápàá àǹfààní tó gbọ́mọ pọ̀ dáadáa. Ilẹ̀ oko mo lọ́gẹ̀dẹ̀ orílẹ̀ ìlúgùn ọlọ́run dá 25,000 ní plọ̀tì báyìí. Ẹ ra plọ̀tì mẹ́ta kẹ́ ẹ gba ìdajì sí i. Bó sì jẹ́ éèkà lẹ́ra ẹ gba plọ̀tì kan sí i. Ilẹ̀ àgbẹ̀ kọ́bápá alábàtà ọ̀pẹ́jì 30,000 per plot. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ra plọ̀tì mẹ́ta ìdajì lẹ́gbà sí i. Bó sì jẹ́ éèkà lẹ́ra ẹ ó gbòdìdì kan sí i. Àwọn onírà ti wà ńlẹ̀ láti ra èrè oko yín 39 NTA Road Ọ̀gbẹ̀ Abẹ́òkúta 03706236. 8033706236. ABR ọ̀rẹ́ àgbẹ̀ àbísúyọ lóko bọ̀kọ̀ ìgbọ̀tún fáwọn àgbẹ̀.
Ogúnjọ́ oṣù kẹsàn-án làǹfààní yìí ó parí o.
Admission, admission, admission. This is to inform the general public that admission into all classes is ongoing at Abeokuta Capital School. The school is a government-approved institution which has both day and boarding facilities to cater for the educational needs of your children. You can rely on the school for the following: conducive environment for teaching and learning, well-ventilated classrooms, well-equipped laboratories, qualified teachers, effective transport system to convey your words, well-equipped sick bay, regular sporting activities, well-stocked library, and many more. The school is located opposite Alamala Army Barracks, Alamala, Abeokuta, Ogun State. For further information and inquiries, please call 07068122096 or 08063216875. You can also reach out to us via email at abeokutacapitalschool@gmail.com. At Abeokuta Capital School, we all discover the hidden potentials in your children. To us, every child is unique. Enroll your child with us today.
Ǹjẹ́ ẹ ti gbọ́ wípé ayẹyẹ ọdún kẹta iléeṣẹ́ Frabjous Family Estate and Investments Limited ti gbọ̀nà àràyọ sílùú Dubai báyìí. Dubai yóò gbàlejò corporate landlord pẹ̀lú àwọn ènìyàn pàtàkì láwùjọ. Láti pẹ̀lú báwa rìnrìn àjò yìí, o ní láti ra plot ilẹ̀ kan ní Adorable Hilltop ní àdójúkọ Golf Club Mamu Town Òkèmọ̀sán Abẹ́òkúta pẹ̀lú 6 million naira. Àwọn lọ́balọ́ba níjòyè àwọn lọ́lá gbogbo ibẹ̀ gangan ni wọ́n ti ń ra ilẹ̀ tí wọ́n sì ń kọ́ ilé alára sí báyìí. Nígbà tí wọ́n ti rí wípé iṣẹ́ ilẹ̀ ìjọba tí kò sì ní wàhálà ọmọ onílẹ̀ kankan, tó o bá ti san 6 million naira wàá gba ilẹ̀ rẹ lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀. Bákan náà ló tún ti lẹ́tọ̀ọ́ àti àǹfààní láti bá wa rìnrìn àjò lọ sí Dubai. Kì í ṣe raffle draw lélẹ́yìí o. Ilé iṣẹ́ Abnim Travels and Tours láti mọ̀ bí ẹni mo wo níbi ká bá ní ṣètò ìrìn àjò sókè òkun nírọ̀rùn ló máa kó wa lọ. Tètè máa bọ̀ lọ́fíìsì wa pẹ̀lú international passport rẹ ní Jídé Jones Way beside Ayira Kitchen Òkèléwu Abẹ́òkúta. Hello Dubai 0702 5636 0702 5636. Má kàn ra lẹ̀ ṣá, ìfọkànbalẹ̀ ní kó ra.
Don't dare touch that dial. It's Splash, your integrity station.
Panorama.
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 Panorama. Panorama.
Panorama. On Splash
Àṣeyọrí gan làgbà iṣẹ́ gbogbo aláṣeyọrí ayọ̀.
Welcome back to Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM. We're taking you through the newspaper stories, the headlines, and going deeper in detail with Dele Ayodo, who is our public affairs analyst for today. And before we went on that break, we were taking the story of the federal government dragging the Academic Staff Union of Universities to court. Now, the federal government wants the court to inquire into the legality or otherwise of the strike, even after apprehension by the Minister of Labour and Employment. It asked the court to interpret in its entirety the provisions of Section 18 LFN 2004 as it applies to the cessation of strike once a trade dispute is apprehended headed by the Minister of Labor and Employment and Conciliation, is ongoing. It also wants to include the interpretation of Section 43 of the Trade Dispute Act, Cap T8 LFN 2004, dealing with the rights of employees or workers during the period of any strike or lockout, as to whether ASU members are entitled to emolument for the period they have been on strike. Now, Dele, let's quickly finish up on this story so that maybe we can touch one more before we have to take calls and comments from our listeners. But basically, the federal government is saying we have made concessions. They announced a 150 billion naira revitalization fund, as well as another 50 billion for end academic allowances that we know of. They said they are looking into the issue of the IBPIS versus the UTAS. Do you think that these are actually concessions from the government, concessions that are enough for us to end the strike, especially if we do not want a repeat of the same another few months down the road, as has been the pattern in the past?
Well, concession, yes. Whether it's been enough, is enough. ASU has said it's not enough. If it's enough, they won't go to court. But talking about court, let me quickly appreciate you, sir. Justice George Shoremi, JCA, that's the entire judge of the Court of Appeal. For those who know, that's my teacher. If you think, if I pretend that as if I'm a lawyer, I know the law, that's the man who I go to see all the time. He takes me through those legal. He just said to me, corroborating my point earlier made, that his GC, O-level and level were posted to him. Just confirmed that in those days, Nigerians, you can travel anywhere. You can go. You are appreciated. Right? Thank you, Justice Shoremi. I'll come in the evening. That
For
this ASU, those sections they are quoting. Yeah, that's what Justice Shoremi does with me regularly when I have you. Thank you, sir, very much. Now, Lola, I'm happy that this is going to court. And like I say to people, that's why the courts are there, and that's why the court must always, at all time, behave in a manner that they are above everybody. Dispense the judgment as quickly as we can, pragmatically as we can, and as heavenly as you can. That's what makes a civilized society. So the two are going to court. Let's see how it turns out.
Well, by the way, Serap is also dragging the president to court. Serap and five university students, yes, over asking the court to declare unlawful the refusal by FG to meet ASU's demands, which has occasioned the prolonged strike and violated the students' rights to quality education.
But, and I'm not trying to rubbish the judiciary now, but say in a case where some of the, I'm sure some of the judge that would preside over this case most likely knows, has a family member who has a child in Nigeria's public university, or maybe himself has a child in a public university. Can we expect them to be impartial?
That's the interesting thing to me. Again, I must say, despite the lectures I get from Justice Shoremi, that did not make me a lawyer. I'm expecting a situation where the first argument by the two sides will be over jurisdiction. Whether that court has particularly some issues raised there. Who denies each other of quality education? What does that mean? How did it happen? I expect a case of jurisdiction to go on before the subject matter is determined by them. So again, I'm happy that it's going to the court. And I think that's how a civilized society should run its things.
All right, let's check out this final story here from the Nation newspaper. Nigeria's debt stocks hit 45.25 trillion naira. Nigeria's debt rose by about 4 trillion naira in the past 5 months to take the portfolio to 45.25 trillion naira. And official data reviewed by the Nation yesterday indicated that the government raised about 3.34 trillion naira through its regular issuance of domestic debt instruments between April and August. The depreciation of the naira also impacted the external debt stock. I think we should get to the phone lines because this story can.
Well, this story is also coexisting alongside Nigeria losing 13.21 million barrels of oil worth 606.64 billion naira. Just when we need every revenue that we can get, it looks like we're losing more.
But do you think we'll get to a point where we're able to say that we are no longer losing, crude oil?
But you seem to have forgotten that I started this argument, this submission earlier, that every of our problems are man-made. None was created by God. It simply means, believe it, Nigeria's problem can be solved in 6 months. I grew up in a Nigeria, in Lagos, in Abeokuta here, where you can travel anywhere in the country any time of the day. I grew up in a Nigeria where you can drop your thing 24, 48 hours later, you come back. It may no longer be there, but somebody who has kept it for you will bring it. I grew up in a Nigeria where you can drop a 2-year-old who cannot talk in a motor park from Lagos and is going to Ibadan on her own. I told you, I was in search of admission as far as University of Maiduguri because I wanted to move away from my parents from Lagos. At 18, I left Lagos, joined the train in Ido to Maiduguri. About 3 days alone. I didn't know anybody in Maiduguri. I was not expecting to know anybody.
But the problems seem to be escalating.
Because they were left untreated. They were left undone. I talk about our roads. The Owode Ilaro Road that is just being rehabilitated didn't get to that position in 15 years. It's been bad for over 15 years. Successive government. The issue of water, no light in Nigeria has been deteriorating because government have abandoned it. I talk about being a shame. It should not be what any government or any citizen should be jumping up at, that in year 2022, government is building or rehabilitating roads for you and the government and the people are happy. This should have been done 100 years ago. The London Underground.
All right.
It's over 100 years ago. The population of the Great Britain is less than 80 million today. So imagine what their population was when the underground was built.
Dele, let's get to the phone lines now. 0817-444-1067. 0817-555-1067. 0704-400-1067. Good morning. What's your name?
This is Nicholas.
Nicholas, go ahead, please.
Sir Dele Ayodo, I agree with you when you said that the Nigerians in diaspora, they feel joy when Nigeria do well, and when they feel pain too when Nigeria do badly. You did not take the temperature of all Nigerians in diaspora to be absolute on that fact. You see, injustice to one is injustice to all. There is no region in this country where the violence is not out of political inequity. Either the Niger Delta militancy, the violence in the east, and I'm sure you have seen a report in the last 3 months that even says Ogun State is the most violent in terms of non-military deaths. And the case went to the National Assembly, either through courtism or ritualism. The Southeasterners in the west of this country also have different reasons to be here. And I'm sure the people who come to this Southwest who hide under trucks, under onions and pepper and goats are more of a threat to the West than the Southeasterners in the West who do real business. When that church was bombed in Owo, the Easterners there went to seek for the they went to ask for God's blessing. So they didn't go there as APC or PDP men.
All right. Thank you, Nicholas, for your contribution. Engineer Iyanu Richard on WhatsApp says, I've read a lot of people saying Ayu should resign. If he resigns, the deputy national chairman, who is also from the same region, will be the new national chairman. Do you want the party to go against the constitution? Good morning.
Good morning, Flash.
All right.
From Obatoko. Yes. I have you read from the papers about a school fence in Lagos collapsing and killing some scholars. You see, I am drawing the attention of the Ogun State government to a particular block of classrooms building at Salahu Adola Comprehensive High School. That place has been lying down for years now. Even when the last administration led by Governor Amosu was on seat, that place has been abandoned, Then right now, that place is still lying there. Sometimes when these scholars go, these students go on break, they could go inside there and get themselves relaxed. So, rain, if you see the building, when you are driving to Oshele, you will see it vividly. Vividly, it has been abandoned. So, the government should not wait until that place collapse and kill innocent students. So that is my take this morning.
Thank you.
All right.
Babari,
Thank you
for
very
your
much,
contribution. Engineer Iyanu Richard continues with, if IU is the problem, why is Wike fighting IU? IU is the elected national chairman. Atiku is the elected presidential candidate. Can Atiku remove IU? No. Was Atiku the one that made IU the chairman? No. So what is the reason for fighting IU? He says, this one says, good morning, Splash. They should sacrifice IU. Do we have a call? They should sacrifice IU na lamb. Don't mind me. Wonderful analysis from Sir Ayodo. Nigeria, as I always say, is a theater of absurdities. I pray we get there, but it is a collective responsibility, even though it's not a walk in the park. Olawale Olajide from Oloron Shogo sends that one in. This one is from Biola from Abeokuta. And Biola says, good morning to you all. I think Wike and Atiku should meet and resolve the contending issues, but more importantly, Wike should respect party supremacy, having lost the primaries fair and square. But if not, the Atiku camp should break into Wike's camp and woo them over to execute the campaign and elections. Let's take this call. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Mr. Lawal from Abeokuta.
All right, Mr. Lawal, go ahead.
Yes, I want to ask a question. The question is this. The way federal government is drafting the ASU to strike, to court, and ASU taking, they call it, send federal government to court. It's another way of driving this matter. I believe this thing is so. I want to ask Mr. Dele that if someone comes to ask him now, what's the solution to this problem of getting students back to school? I want to ask Mr. Dele, what's the solution to the problem? Please talk.
What's the solution to the problem, to the ASU federal
government is saying
impasse?
talks have failed.
Quickly, because I laughed, let me also appreciate that joke from that person.
The
lamb and the sacrifice. Let me use the Bible, because lamb and sacrifice is a reference to the Bible.
Right.
Remember that the Bible talks about peace offering and burnt offering.
So which one should I use?
You can be any of them, either peace offering or burnt
what about
offering.
the ASU federal
Now
government?
to the serious issue now. Honestly, I've said, I've postulated everything. Something unusual should be done at this point. Let's see what the court will say. They've not asked from their prayers. They've not had the court to tell them what to do.
But what is the unusual thing?
Yeah, the unusual remains this. One, federal government should hand over all universities. No school should become state or federal university. That's one. Privatize it. Autonomy. Yes, autonomy. Even start from the buildings. The VC lodge, the Senate building, the classroom. You can start from there. Let people begin to run it, the hostels. You can start from that. Two, look, the way it is now, you understand, the position of VCs should be advertised like you advertise the position of GEM, not like hierarchical, it's related to some group, you now contest, it's a contest. No, keep it open to anybody. You understand that, even from abroad and all these things. We have private universities running. How many times have you heard them go on strike?
Squabbling.
And all those things. Create both functional scholarship and indigent boards.
Okay.
For students. Stop giving them this money. Put those money, the one there, what do they call it? The 100 money say they are putting them. Put it in either the revitalization or these boards that I talked.
Okay, Dele, let's peg it there for now.
That will be a conversation for
it will be although we've had that conversation exhaustively several times.
Yemi Ajala, who was our guest that time, seemed to also told this line about autonomy, especially. But let's get to Twitter too. Kende says the official and unofficial corruption in acquiring Nigerian passport is huge within the immigration staff. And then Yemi Ajala says, good morning, Mr. Ayodo. What you just said about the Southeast and Biafra war was what Buhari tweeted, that Igbo Igbos termed as glutton and caused Twitter to start war with FG. The Southeast is not ready to tell itself the truth. Please, Mr. Ayodo, what do you think about how Yorubas handled Sunday Igbo's rallies versus how the Igbos handled the Nnamdi Kanu issue? Remember, Nnamdi Kanu fled and they said FG killed him till he resurfaced. That's a question for you.
Quickly, please.
Quickly, I'll be ashamed of any kinsman of mine, that means a Yoruba man, who wants to postulate or wants to tell us that all problems in Yoruba land or any of our problems in Yoruba land is a result of our political marginalization. No, that would be very wrong. Whatever problem we have here, we created it in Yoruba land. I'm talking about. It's not because of political marginalization. That's a mistake.
Okay.
The Southeast are not ready to agree.
Fola on WhatsApp says the federal government should be ready to charge other unions such as NUEE, NARD to court alongside ASU. A serial defaulter government, Fola says. Mr. Dele, no one is a true Nigerian, but a Nigerian of circumstance and not by natural providence. We can only be Nigerians when we are well consented. Just as you have said earlier that our problems are not nature caused but self-inflicted, we therefore need to get the problems fixed by the political businessmen and with the consent of we the masses that are suffering the consequences of the self-infliction. When Nigeria is put in proper structure, I may see myself as a proud Nigerian, but now I'm a Yoruba man living in foreign land. That's from Afolabi. Finally, on WhatsApp for now, Abiola from Adigbe says, concerning the federal government dragging us to court now at the hour, as we all know how the judicial system of this country works, how many weeks or months will it take for them to drag this issue in court? And is it certain that this issue will totally be solved in the court? What if the court's ruling does not suit the federal government? Will they concede to the court ruling and vice versa? Thank you, Abiola. But I did read about the minister asking for a swift resolution of the matter in court. So maybe they'll probably accelerate matters.
All right. They call it sui generis in court.
Did you learn that from
Justice Shoremi? And I should also pay tribute to a non-general now, Justice Demola Bakri. Both my Justice Demola Bakri is just too old now. Justice Shoremi is still a boy. Now a person.
How old?
Justice Shoremi is 78.
Okay.
I'm 60.
On Facebook,
so I don't understand.
Peter Abolajo says, good morning, Splash. Please, nobody should blame PDP for any wrongdoing because even APC has its own wrongs, which they are battling with. Their present president is a northerner, party chair the same, and same religion. So what are they saying? Please let other political parties now and uncover better people. Please, I'm tired of these old guards since 1992. Haba, you don't do now. And we also have this one from Mujib Odejimi, who says Buhari visits Imo on 13th September to commission projects. IPOB declares sit at home across Southeast on 13th September. Who should the Southeastern people obey? Honestly, we cannot continue like this. Thank you to everyone who is telling us good morning as well. We appreciate you. Well, we've talked about this IPOB issue earlier. Dele Ayodo has talked about how it looks like there's the political will to protect the people is not there, and that has caused fear as well. Twitter, finally, Reverend Zedo Tanimbola from Wasimi. Good morning, Nigerians. Federal government is dragging us to court. Can we get results like this? Well, we're all waiting to see.
For sure, both parties will not be pleased by the judge, I'm very sure. Whoever the judgment favors, the other side, I'm sure will have...
And with the ruling stand, that's another question I was asked.
Exactly. Do you think the federal government...
That's what I said. If it favors us, I'm sure federal government will have a ground.
But will they comply?
If it favor, I don't know about complying. Agree. The federal government has shown, have proven that... they may not be trusted on some occasions. So
and what do you? Somebody also compared this to NUEE and NARD. What do you think this will mean for all the other unions? With the pensions for also going on strike.
Of course, that's all of them goes on strike at the same time. And look at what they are asking for. It's the same thing. So that judgment will settle a lot of things. Whether they will abide with it is a different. So I expect, like I said, murmuring from whoever seems to have lost out. But at least it will affect the other unions, definitely.
All right, we can take one more call, 0704 400 1067, 0817 444 1067, 0817 555 1067. Balogun from Abeokuta says, we appeal to the state government to patch the various vehicle damaging potholes from Mortuary Junction to down to Kimta axis of that road. The schools will be resuming in a week's time, and the traffic on that road will be unbearable with the present state of the road.
And I think I saw the one at Yano Mortuary. If you're coming from Ijaye, like you're going towards Abiola way, there's a particular portal there. And I don't know, we've talked about this before. You know, these portals, you see them when they open up, and before you know it, they become so large, which comes down to maintenance culture.
And what it would take to fix them when the little ditch initially happens is not a lot compared to what it takes
in 30
later.
seconds, maybe they are okay, we have a call. Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Virtues from Abeokuta.
Go ahead, please.
All right. This country is actually not fair to the Southeast. And if Nigerians do not want Southeast, they should tell them to leave. It's better to tell us to leave than to treat them the way they are treating us like this. That's actually not fair. Now, if you check well, when this Queen Elizabeth died, most of the persons in Nigeria that are actually probably maybe wish her a happy death or so on, they are mostly from the north. It is the Igbos, not only Igbos, the southern part of the country, even the south too. Very few of them wish her a happy death because she didn't do well to them. So once again, if Nigeria do not want these people to be called Nigerians, they should tell them, "Shall we leave? We'll go our ways and we'll go and start our life afresh." Thank you.
Right.
Thank you very much for your contribution.
Quickly, let me just repeat and emphasize and repeat that every political problem, majority of them in the Southeast are created by Southeasterners. They entrenched it. The call about marginalization is a farce, or entrenched by the Southeast themselves. That's my position. It remains my position.
All right, we have to go now. We've had this conversation in the past. We'll continue to revisit, and the one reference will definitely come up tomorrow as regards the activities of the British and the Crown during the Civil War.
Can I just simply say something? I live in Britain. I don't like the Brits.
All right. My name is Boig. I'll see you again tomorrow, God's willing. We've told you what we'll be taking a look at tomorrow. I'm sure you will definitely want to be a part of that conversation. Enjoy the rest of the day.
My name is Lola Meduteni.
And thank you, Dele Ayodo. You've been here just before it. We appreciate you very much. A young man yourself, like
no, just is a boy. I'm a boy.